Hey, it's been a while, hasn't it? Uh, no excuses, just the usual shit. Been busy. Have to find the time to read these books, get these reviews done, and I came into some personally horrible news. But like I said, I'm gonna just keep that confidential out of respect. Uh, but I'm here now. I'm here to review books that came out on the week of May 10th, 2017. I promise I'm going to get caught up on this. Mark my word. All right, we're going to start with the indies, then run through DC and then Marvel. We're going to start off with the indie stuff. We're going to start with IDW. Back to the Future, number 19. Hard Time, Part 1. First of all, like I said, I love that cover. That cover just looks really cool. What this issue basically is, okay, think back. Think back on the original movie, the original 3 movies. Well, technically, he wasn't mentioned in the third one. He was mentioned in the first 2. But there is one character that was constantly talked about, but we never saw him. We technically saw him as a baby in the first movie. This storyline is going to build up Uncle Joey, Marty's Uncle Joey. That is his mother's younger brother. So I believe his name is Joey Baines. So, yeah. A really, actually well done issue. This issue did a good job of doing just old school build. Just build and build. It's Marty's learning more, thus us readers are learning more about his Uncle Joey, what kind of person he was, and we also kind of sort of learned what got him in jail in the first place. Very, very well done. And there are a lot of people that know Marty personally that want him to have absolutely nothing to do with Uncle Joey. So it kind of leaves Marty kind of feeling half and half when Uncle Joey eventually shows up at the end of the issue. Very, very well done. I love the writing. I love the pacing. Just very, very well done. I give it a 4 out of 5. Let's keep moving on to IDW. Stick with IDW with their team up with DC. Batman TMNT Adventures number 6. Honestly, when you compare this issue to the rest of the storyline that transpired before this kind of felt kind of just okay. It's like the Turtles once again crossover with, Batman and company during the season 4, the Red Sky run of Batman the Animated Series, back when it was changed to the all-new Batman Adventures and stuff like that. There were some good moments in here, but it just felt like a high school reunion in a sort. It's like, hey, I remember you. Yeah. It's like, hey, you remember me? Yeah, let's kick butt one more time. Okay. You would think Scarecrow and the Krang, you would think a team up like that would be damn intimidating, but it just feels like a footnote in the constant bickering and quips and jokes and the hey, how you doing stuff between Batman and the Turtles. If anything, the character development has stayed consistent. Donnie and Nightwing, or Dick, Donnie and Dick Grayson still don't get along that well. Donnie still has a thing for Batgirl, which I think he has a thing for redheads. Tim Drake is just completely just dumbfounded by how this is even happening. It just felt kind of okay compared to the rest of the story. I mean, not to insult Scarecrow or anything like that, but we went from Joker to Scarecrow. We went from the Joker and the Shredder to Scarecrow and the Krangs. Kind of feels like a step down. It really does. But it wasn't a horrible issue. It just fell sort of flat as a conclusion to this series. And I'll be nice and give it a 3. My Little Pony Legends of Magic #2. This is a tale of Rockhoof. And it's basically a story of... It's basically another... this story was basically a telling of, you know, when you're adored, don't get overconfident. And it's another classic tale of somebody becoming famous, becoming popular, becoming well liked, and and gets a little overconfident, starts getting careless, starts getting reckless, and stuff like that. And it's basically an overconfidence / redemption storyline, all done in one issue. It was done very well. I did like it. I just think a story like this, the message they were going for, you could have got away with doing it in a 2-part story. You really could have. I really did feel like this was a 2-part story squeezed into one book. That's how I honestly felt. But it was still good for what it was. I'll give it a 3.5. Let's move on to DC with Action Comics number 979. This is part 1 of Revenge. The gang's all getting built up. We got the Eradicator, we got Blank, we got Metallo, Mongol, and Cyborg Superman. Now, this is where Cyborg Superman truly steps in. And, oh man, just reminded of the stories of yesteryear back in the 90s during the wonderful Reign of the Superman storyline, in which we saw Mongol bow down to Cyborg Superman and kiss his hand and declare him master. And it's like the more things change, the more they stay the same and everything. Not bad. Just more and more build to a big war that's inevitably coming between this group and Big Blue himself. So, for what it was, I enjoyed it. Thought it was very well executed, just not perfect. I give it a 3.5. Detective Comics number 956. Clearly for me, the star of this issue was Orphan, Cassandra Cain. She was easily the star of the book for me. Seeing her finally stand up to her mother, Lady Shiva, and whip her ass, stomp a mud hole in her ass, and walk it dry, that felt good to see. It really did. The whole League of Shadows thing, it's resolved for now. They won the fight, but it's inevitably going to be reignited later on down the line. A really, really good issue. I liked this. I really did. It's like, Orphan is a character of few words. And she's one of those characters that lets her actions do more talking than her lips. And I thought it was very well done. Loved it. Thought it was great. 4 out of 5. Hal Jordan in the Green Lantern Corps number 20. Prism of Time. Look, it's just another one of those stories where the Green Lanterns have got their backs against the wall and they're up against these prism beasts and they're much more powerful, and Hal's in the front of the line saying, just hit him with everything you got, don't worry about me. And as this is happening with Hal, I couldn't help but hear this in my head. Wow. And we learn what created these creatures, and yeah, I ain't saying nothing else. A good issue. Just kind of a little on the melodramatic side, but sometimes you get that with the Green Lantern titles of all titles. So, yeah, 3.5 out of 5. Let's keep it rolling with Supergirl number 9. Kara is going to a ceremony in which a new transporter machine is being revealed, and Up, big surprise, big shock. It's actually a portal to the Phantom Zone. But what I will spoil is that Barbara and Kara voluntarily go into the Phantom Zone to save someone. What I won't spoil is who they tussled with before that happened. Oh boy, nice. Good issue. I like this. But like I said, kind of a predictable finish, kind of a predictable cliffhanger and stuff like that. But, keyword kind of. There were some elements I thought, okay, well, I thought they were going to go in a different direction besides where they went. As soon as I saw the words Phantom Energy, I knew where this was going. I didn't even really have to look at the title in the top of the book. As soon as the ceremony that Kara's at, and they said the words Phantom Energy, I knew exactly where they were going. I knew exactly where the storyline was going. So it does lose some points for predictability, but then again, predictability in comics, as well as in almost anything, predictability is not always a bad thing. But in this case, it kinda, sorta is. But it is what it is. I give it a 3.5. Titans, number 11. This is part 1 of the Lazarus contract. Yeah, I'm getting this. The story begins with a basic reimagining of the original Ravager's death. The original Ravager died back all the way back in issue 2 of the new Teen Titans from the Incredible Wolfman Perez run. That's how long ago he died. But in here, he died probably just a few years ago. Who the hell knows? But in here, what this storyline basically, the main gist of it is Deathstroke wanting to get his eldest son back, his eldest son Grant, the original Ravager. So what does he do? He concocts a plan. He needs Speed Force energy. So of course he goes after Wally West. And then he goes after Wally West. See what I did there? Remember, we now have 2 Wallies. And that's minor. I'm going to go ahead and spoil it. That's what the cliffhanger was at the end of the issue. Is both Wally Wests finally meeting face to face. This was a moment that was destined to happen. It was a moment that we knew was coming. It couldn't be escaped. We knew it was going to happen. And I thought, I'm kind of glad it happened in a big crossover storyline. Because to do it in a one and done issue kind of would have left me wanting a little bit more. So for here, I dig it. This was a decent start to the storyline. There was a couple of things in here that bothered me, but I'm not going to go into a long rant about it. This was actually still pretty good. For what it was, I give it a 3.5. We're ending the DC stack with Wonder Woman number 22. Who is this lady on the cover? Well, that is Dr. Veronica Cale. She has been one of the main points of this entire storyline. This is part 4 of Godwatch. And what she does in this issue is she is at an auction in which people are purchasing dates. Prostitutes. Excuse me. I had something in my throat. But one of the dates that's up for bids is Diana, Wonder Woman. And it's flat out said, it's like the winner of this bid gets a date with Wonder Woman. And in here, we see a bidding war between Bruce Wayne and Lex Luthor. And it's actually getting comical. And then the bidding war is won by Dr. Veronica Cale. This woman spent $15 million to get a date with Wonder Woman. Jesus Christ, talk about getting to know your adversary better. Shit. Considering what Veronica's going through, desperate times call for desperate measures. And she felt like it was necessary to spend that huge chunk of change just to get to know Diana better. You know, she's not trying to buy a relationship. She wants to learn more about Diana, wants to learn more about the Mascara, you know, in the hopes of saving her daughter and all that stuff. It's basically a romantic interview. It's what it felt more like. And by the end of the issue, Diana's just kind of cautious about her, saying, I'll keep an eye on you. And there we go. A cute issue. Very cute. That's the best way I can sum it up. It was cute. I give it a 3.5. $15 million?
Only 15?
$15 million to go on a date with Wonder Woman. She better have a pussy made out of gold.
Can't say that in monetize.
Oh, yeah. Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, tits. Oh, there are far worse videos than mine still getting monetized. Alright, let's go on to Marvel with all new Wolverine number 20. Question. You have a being in your custody that's carrying this incredibly deadly virus, and it's very infectious. It's causing a massive outbreak. What are you going to do? What kind of scientific measures can you come up with? You gather some of the most brilliantly scientific minds that you can think of to come up with a scientifically sound solution to solving this problem. So what do? Have Laura touch the infected and cure them. Wow. I'm not kidding, folks. This being that brought this big virus to Earth and everything, and this virus the infection is spreading like crazy. One person gets infected to the point where she's near death, but then they find out that Laura's DNA, just hers, not Gabby's, even though they're technically the same person, have the same DNA, same blood, blah, blah, blah. Just her. Only she can fight the infection away because of her healing factor. And then we cap it all off at the end of the issue with a comment claiming that Laura is the new Messiah. I am dead fucking serious. That is what is said in this book. Oh my God. Wow. Mr. Taylor, you got some brass balls writing this. I will certainly understand if some people feel a little religiously offended by this issue, but at the same time, I thought it was fun. But man, Tom Taylor, you got some nerve writing the shit that you did in this issue. The touch heals the sick, and she's called the Messiah. Wow! You really, honest to God, bad choice of words, went there. You really went there. That's a very brave move. Let's just hope it wasn't a very stupid one. The issue itself gets a 3.5. Wow. Okay. The Amazing Spider-Man number 745. Or 27, whatever number you want to use. I use their traditional numbering. 745. When I initially read this book, I went on Twitter and I said, I'll be damned. This issue actually wasn't bad. But then again, it wasn't really that great either. Dan Slott has still far more than overstayed his welcome on this title. There's no arguing that. There's no denying that. Hell, I think it's gotten to the point where even he can't deny that anymore. But the fact of the matter is, while this issue wasn't the worst thing I've seen Slott write here lately, it's still far from a great series. There's still a lot of things wrong with this title. how everybody's just so up in arms about Silver Sable faking her death, as if we didn't know that was coming when she initially did it. The fact that nobody seems to know just which emotion to stick with Peter when he's dealing with his arch nemesis. Fuck Doc Ock. Anybody who says that Dr. Octopus is is Spider-Man's arch nemesis, give me a fucking break. It is Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin. But it seems that Dan Slott is still having problems picking the right and proper emotions for Peter when it comes to this storyline. When this storyline started, when Norman Osborn made his big return, it seemed Peter was just full of rage and he was just consumed with hatred and just, he was so vindictive. He was so focused on bringing Norman Osborn to justice. And here, he's still that way a little bit, but in here, he's back to the whole quipping jokes and stupid humor stuff that he's been known for since the 60s. And it's like, are you mad or are you having fun? What the fuck are you feeling? Pick an emotion and stick with it. In my opinion, he should be focused with rage. He should be focused and driven and just all business and being serious when it comes to Norman Osborn. Oh, by the way, Norman has finally decided to quit having facial surgeries and he's going back to his original face. But unfortunately, due to all the facial surgeries he's had, he's permanently messed up his face to the point where he looks like a ball sack with a face on it. But what Osborn is doing in here, it does feel true to his character. Only he would be nutso and psycho enough to think that this would be beneficial in any way. You know, sticking true to the psycho nutball character that he is, that's a good thing. But Peter's teeter-tottering of emotions, that's a bad thing. There were times I felt like Silver Sable was more of a focus than Spider-Man was in a Spider-Man comic book. I mean, this issue was passable, but it was far from great, and I give it an average 2.5 score at the very best. The Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, number 7. Not bad. This was really good. Jerry Conway really knows how to write this character. This is the same man that wrote The Death of Gwen Stacy. Yeah, and this has to take place during the 90s in an alternate timeline and everything. Call me crazy, but I got a little jolly out of seeing Cyclops bitch and whine about losing Jean to Wolverine. Just thinking about it kind of makes me chuckle. It's like my latch onto the dream cost me the woman I love. It's like you're living in a house with your ex and her new husband, who's also her baby daddy. Suck it, Cyclops. You one-eyed bitch. Oh, man. And the very, very funny anticlimactic finish to the story involving Magneto and Emma Frost. It's like they're wreaking havoc on people's minds. So what do you do? You just punch the bitch. Oh, man. The more I think about it, I'm getting 11. This was fun. I loved this issue. It gave me a good laugh. It made me feel good. It put a smile on my face, and that's what it needed to do. It was great. It gets a 4 out of 5. Double suck it, Emma Frost. Okay, let's keep going. Avengers number 7. You work for the infamous Iron Man. Victor Von Doom working with the Avengers. And go. The new Wasp is still being a bit of a bitch to Peter. This issue was fine. This issue was fine for what it was. The artwork is a little better in here, but Mark Waid still writes very well. I mean, this was certainly better than the last couple of issues were. This was a step up in terms of character development, character drive, and plot direction and everything. This was good. This was good. The issue by the end got really weird, but I've seen weirder shit. But Mark Waid can certainly write a weird story and still make it gripping and still make it interesting. This was good. Not jumping up and down great, but good for what it was. I'll give it a 3.5. On to my pick of the week for this week of comics. Star Wars, The Screaming Citadel, #1. This is part 1 of this storyline. Yes, it's overpriced, but man, I really dug this issue. Luke comes across Dr. Aphra, and Aphra takes Luke, makes a demand or a bargain or an offer with Luke and everything, and it's a girl. She decides to take Luke to someplace that people only gather to once a year. And what they're on a quest, what they're doing, what the purpose of this gathering is, I won't spoil that. But they're meeting a queen, and oh my God, this queen's design is so awesomely beautiful. Trust me, this ain't no nice queen. This queen is a bitch. But her design, her character design is just magnificent. It's just a shame we won't be seeing this character on the big screen because it could really add something. Who knows? We may or may not be getting her. But as a beginning to this storyline, thought it was handled very well. Very, very well. I really dug this issue. It was, like I said, it got my pick of the week because it was the book I enjoyed the most out of the stack. It was really good. I give it a solid 4 out of 5. Alright, we're ending this video with XMen Blue, #3. Cullen Bunn and Malina on the artwork. Yeah, this issue was good. This issue was really good. It's the original X-Men, and still some of them are still trying to come to grips with working with Magneto and everything. But then we get to see what they're up to in here. They're being brought before Bastion, the Nimrod Master Mold hybrid, and oh man. The one thing that hurts this book is the very predictable finish. Very predictable finish. It's like, Marvel, did you really expect me to believe that the Sentinels flipped and turned babyface to join alongside the X-Men? Please. A very predictable finish to this issue, and it all culminates with Scott telling Jean that everything's going to be okay. Not a bad issue, but this was far from perfect. But all in all, I thought the character development was good. They never once believed anything that Bastion was saying. I believe that's who that was. They never believed anything that they were saying. They were, having mind conversations during this whole thing, saying be prepared for anything. So the X-Men in this book prove once again they're not stupid. They're prepared and on their guard for any contingency that comes up, despite the whole pseudo babyface turn that Bastion and the Sentinels tried to pull on them and everything. A good issue, very well done, but far from perfect. I give it a 3.5, between a 3.5 and a 4. All right, that's all I got for this video, everybody. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you haven't done it already. As far as the Blugoblin X channel goes, there's some things I want to do for that channel, but just got to find the time to do it. Don't forget Arkham Asylum Studio. We just did another Mystery Bag Randomness episode. Go check that out. Don't forget Lenora2003. She does her Crazy Crab videos. Y'all know about the shout-outs to my bros, TheMtVernonKid, Deadpoolzilla, and Brandon Hex, with respect as always. Stay tuned for the next upcoming episode of Blue versus Gold. It'll be up when it's done. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hail Hydra. See y'all later. Take care.